Welcome to episode 41, or as the real ones will call it, season 2, episode 1 of, drumroll please, Sarah, take it away. What is the new name of our podcast?
Well, I feel like everyone's on the edge of their seats over this. We ran some polls over the past 24 hours or so, got some feedback from some listeners and some just family, friends, the regular Instagram followers. We do have a new name. I think we like it. I think it fits us. It was an overwhelming favorite. But without further ado, we are the Heating Up Podcast.
The Heating Up Podcast.
Round of applause for
Love
the
it.
winner.
Snaps.
This was second to Talking Ball. For those curious, it was about a 70% heating up, 30% of the voters wanted Talking Ball. I think we still have to tinker. Do we want the Heating Up Podcast? The podcast, we'll figure that out. But Heating Up Podcast is our new name. We're excited for it. We're excited to rebrand, new colorways, new logo, all exciting stuff coming soon. So I'm excited to take it to the next level. And I think it suits us pretty well.
Absolutely. I think it fits well. It rolls off the tongue. It's easily Googleable. You can find us. And I got to tell you, we're heating up. We're always exciting, and we're always aiming to get better. There's something about us. It's that we're always aiming to get better. So like you said, we're going to, we'll take it to our legal team. We'll figure out the podcasts on the end because, what the world needs is one more sports podcast. So that's the hard part when we're finding these names is we have a lot of good ones. And, there's always some random schmuck in the middle of Ohio that has 2 listeners that had all these good names taken. So we were very happy with these ones. And I think we're pretty excited. So I think I completely agree. This fits us better. It encapsulates kind of all sports, because we're doing this year round, not just a football podcast. So I'm super excited as well. I hope you guys all enjoy it. And, we're ready to get going. I feel like season 2, this is where we're really hitting our stride.
I think we have to provide the disclaimer that we are not a climate change podcast because in our studies of searching names, I believe it was the Heating Up Podcast or some similar derivative was a podcast talking about climate change. I think they only had a couple of episodes, but maybe they had quite the fan group who might be following. They might be coming to us, and I feel like we should just get that out there. We're not talking climate change here. Sports only.
No, unfortunately, sports only. We do, we're pro climate change. We have our reusable water bottles. I think we're all believers in science here. So I think you guys are a welcome bunch to join our crew. But let's get involved in some sports because climate change is kind of a depressing thing to have to spend an hour a week listening to on a podcast.
Yeah, I can see why they only made it a few episodes. I feel like the material might not be the best for a weekly podcast.
So on the antithesis of climate change is the first segment that we are going to launch our official Heating Up podcast with. We got to jump into Premier League because I'm excited about it, and now that no football's around, it is 100% my number one focus. And even with Tottenham off this week, I did watch a lot of soccer. We've had a whole week to get healthy. We've had a whole week to kind of jive back together after players coming back from injury, after Son is coming back from the Asian Cup. We have Basuma and we have Sarr coming back from the African Cup. Everybody's basically been either injured or away for the past basically 3 months since November. So this is a well-needed, I think, little breather. And I'm excited to get back to work on Saturday. So we should hopefully be rested, hopefully be healthy. And then basically, it's one of those things where it feels like when we're on a big break, I just have time for my mind to run and wander and think about all the different things that like the team that you root for could or should be doing. So our captain, Heung-min Son, I feel like they need to play him up top as a striker. He's been playing the left wing. He's probably, I think, well regarded as the best left wing in the Premier League this year. And we have looked the best as a team when he was playing up top. We had Richarlison. He's an amazing Brazilian striker, but he was kind of only been in form for us for a month of the whole time that we had him. He looked great for 4 straight weeks. He won the player of the month of the whole league. But the past couple of weeks, he hasn't been scoring in the same way. And I think that this is the perfect opportunity to put Son up there. We just signed Timo Werner from, I think it was RB Leipzig in Germany. He's another fast guy on the left that can fit right in. And bring Richarlison off the bench if we need to. But I think we need to get our most talented guys in goal-scoring positions more often. So that's just where my brain is going. I feel like that's probably not going to happen, but I think that's how the team looked best, and I'm sticking to it. So with no Spurs this week, the biggest news was the Carabao Cup, which basically for our NBA fans is kind of just like an NBA in-season tournament. that goes on where all of the teams in Europe all play each, or all the teams in England all play each other from like what would be our version of like a single A team versus any sort of like MLB or NBA team. They all play each other to see who's the best team in England in multiple different competitions. So there was the final this week, which is why we were off. We were supposed to have a game against Chelsea. They made it to the finals against Liverpool. So the final happened this week. Huge game. Everybody was super pumped. Two huge teams. It was a very exciting 0-0 tie through the whole game. Ended up going into extra time where Virgil van Dijk had a huge header from just off a corner kick, and they won right at the end of the second period of extra time. So why this is so important? Obviously, Liverpool is a perennially amazing team. They have a ton of top tier talent from the world. They won, and they were going against. They had basically, I would say, 5 of their top players that would normally be starting in any game injured, out, not able to play. So Mo Salah, Dominic Szoboszlai, Trent Alexander-Arnold, they're guys that are all playing at the top level of competition. They're playing for their countries. They're absolutely incredible. They're starting goalkeeper, who's the starting goalkeeper for Brazil as well. It's like all these guys that are incredible were out, and they were going against Chelsea, who this year, I think it's over the past 12 months, have spent $1.7 billion bringing in new players. So they're they're kind of like the, I'm a Yankee fan, obviously, so I say this tongue in cheek, but like they're right now they're basically acting like the Yankees of the Premier League, where they're just like, we're going to go spend an insane amount of money and bring in all of these guys, but with no real cohesion. So basically, they spent $1 billion, which is almost double the amount that the second most team has spent bringing in players. And then they lost to this team that had basically half of their starting lineup out. They started a 20-year-old, or Liverpool did, who won the game. They had 2 19-year-olds and an 18-year-old that came in as substitutes, and they just beat this team that spent $1.07 billion in the past 12 years bringing in players. So I feel like it's just the exact way that you want to build a team, where it's like, it's the culture. It's it's like the Heat. It's like the Heat culture. It doesn't matter really who's here. They obviously have a lot of good players, but it's like they bring them in and can win under Jurgen Klopp. Whereas Chelsea is just like, what, like, it looks good when we spend money and we're really rich, so kind of fuck it. So it was very much fun to watch them lose. So I was trying to think of like a good analogy aside from obviously the Yankees. So I was trying to put it in the NBA terms. Chelsea feels like the Nets when they would go out and like, oh, they got a big 3, and they've done it twice, where they go out and get the big 3 and everybody's like really excited about it. And then Liverpool kind of felt like the San Antonio Spurs or like the pre-KD Warriors, where it's like we're kind of building from within. Obviously, we go out, we're a top-tier team, and they find a lot of guys. But it's so much about like, it's a team sport. You can't win a team sport just by putting together a bunch of pieces, which is like exactly what Chelsea's doing. And Liverpool kind of realized that, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So, shout out my buddy Matt, big Liverpool fan. But fuck Liverpool, and I think I just hate Liverpool a little bit less than I hate Chelsea, so I was pulling for them in this game. But I alluded to this to you a little bit before we started recording. I am pretty upset on the soccer front at the moment because just a couple hours ago I did get some news that I'm not thrilled about.
We're on the edge of
I
our
basically, seats. Yeah, I basically kind of conned my way. I always wanted to go to London, and was able to get me. It was like, so did Andrea, so did my wife. We always wanted to go to London. So just so happened to kind of plan a trip exactly around a Tottenham Hotspur game. Found out when we were going to be home, did everything. We booked it, and we're going to London and Ireland. So basically we're doing like 6 days in London, 6 days in Ireland. And I planned it out. I'm like, we're going to want to get there. I want to get nice and acclimated. We'll do some fun stuff in London, get there in the middle of the week. Saturday, there's a game, 10 a.m. U.S. time. So I think that's like 3 in London. It's going to be a nice afternoon game. We can go hang out. I got us amazing seats. I literally found these way too expensive box seats. We go in, there's like food, there's free food, there's drinks. You have these amazing seats right in the middle of the field. And I'm like, all right. And then we have the day after, Sunday, we'll be able to just do London stuff, relax in case we're, I don't know how late the game is going to be, how beat up I'm going to be afterwards. And then Monday, we're going to be able to go to Ireland. We'll fly over. It's super quick, and then enjoy that whole trip. I just got a random update today that Tottenham, it just said for broadcasting purposes, Tottenham moved that game from Saturday morning to Monday night. After my flight, after we had already booked our flight and hotels and everything to Dublin, to whatever, before we were driving around all of Ireland.
Oh, I'm sure Andrea is devastated over that.
Yeah.
More
I was
than
getting
you.
I got very nice seats. We're gonna be like in this whole area where there's gonna be food and bar. I'm like, this is gonna be fun for all parties involved.
Yeah.
But like, it's like this whole reason, the whole timeline. I was like, I got it right in the middle in case that there's any shifting later. Like, I didn't want to leave the next day because if the game was late or we were too whooped, I'm like, whatever. We have the whole Sunday in case anything shifts around. And then they managed to just put the game. It's at like 9 p.m. local time on Monday also. So
what are you going to do?
It's just like I basically either need to chalk up these very expensive tickets as a loss and try to sell them because obviously buying tickets in the U.S. For some reason is very hard. I don't know why they can't just use like StubHub and like all of these other millions of sites that just make it easy to buy tickets. I got to go to some like weird person, or I got to like go on Tottenham Hotspur's website and spend another $50 to be like a Hotspur member. But, I can't do that because I don't have an address in the UK and my credit card is linked to like my address here. So everything, they just made it so hard. Finally found these great seats. And now they're like, we're actually just going to move this game like 48 hours after you're already, you thought it was going to be. So I don't know whether I'm going to have to sell these tickets or have to, change hotels, planes, and car reservations. But we're going to figure it out one way or another. And that's been my whole day so far.
I feel like the broadcasting stuff is getting a little out of hand. Like, we all like the flexing in football season when you're like at home on the couch, but it is very stressful. Like, I've had a handful of times in the past years where I'm thinking about like booking tickets to a game that you have to travel and fly to, take time off of work and stuff. But then like there is this, what if it's later in the season? What if this gets flexed, And I feel like, yes, it's all good for viewing, but like we're all going to still watch anyway. So I feel like when it's like in a totally over 24-hour difference, I don't think it should be allowed.
I completely agree. I think I don't know what they're doing over there. They're just drinking tea. I don't know if they're taking siestas. I don't know what's going on, but I think that they're resting on their laurels of, hundreds of years ago when they were just conquering the rest of the world. And they just think they can get away with stuff like this. Some of us are crossing oceans. We're crossing nations lines to go see this team that's constantly just ripping my heart out and making me feel getting me excited and then making me feel terrible anyway. So now it's like I don't know. It's like are they saving me from a gut-wrenching loss in person? Maybe. But I can't. It's like how many times am I going to go to London and get a chance to see one of my favorite teams in the world? Not too many, probably. Yeah. So I've got some decisions to make. Need to see how I can't really hide that I planned this whole trip around the Tottenham game if I'm now changing flights, hotel reservations, and car reservations to stay for the game. Yeah. That's no longer like, oh, look at that, we happen to be in town when Tottenham is playing.
Yeah, something tells me Andrea had a feeling. She might have known about this before already.
Yeah. She's a pretty smart lady. I think I'm the dumb one here. So, but we will figure it out. I'm not too worried about it. I'm just it's just more work and a very not the most fun little ESPN alerts. Like, oh, Tottenham's got some match changes for 6 weeks from now. Get the fuck out.
And did you even get an email from them? Or you just happened to see it on an ESPN alert?
Yeah, I emailed. I had to email the place. I got the tickets. Being like, can you let me know what my options are here? And obviously, by the time I saw it and figured it out, it's like, it was like 9 p.m. over there, 8 or 9 p.m. over there. So it's like I got some automated response that somebody will be right with me. I haven't heard anything yet.
The audacity. That's crazy.
Some nerve, but we'll figure it out. It'll be a fun trip regardless. But I just want to see him. I want to see him live.
I know.
But a little more locally here, over stateside, we got college basketball going on that I've been watching a lot of. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of what I think is relatively bad basketball, but it's exciting. People care about it. Like it's fired up to watch the kids play, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like after you said last week that you're putting yourself into a dangerous position, I realize I'm also doing that. And now I just I'm doing like the reverse psychology where I'm like, okay, I just watched Kansas State pull out this random game, and now I know in my head I'm going to take them way too far in my bracket because I'm going to be biased. after this one game, and they have sick uniforms also.
Very
But
cool.
so then I'm gonna go the reverse, and then I'm gonna like probably take them less. So I'm a jumbled mess. I got the email today from CBS Sports, to reminding me to sign up already for all of my brackets that I've been involved in for previous years. So that was exciting. But I'm already like, I don't know. Do I deep dive further? Do I take a step back? Because we all know, like, even if no matter how much you study college basketball, March Madness cannot be predicted. So it's like at that point, I don't know. I feel like it's not one of those things where the more you know, the better you do.
100%. So I do want to know, as we're getting into this, what your opinions are, because I was, always when we're growing up, it was one of my favorite things to do was to fill a bracket out with my dad and my sister. My sister somehow never watched sports and would always win. It just always seems like what the deal was. But like fill out one bracket, my dad would get the highlighters, like the yellow if you won, the pink if they lost. Like I love that. And then obviously the internet made it so easy. You go on all these different sites, you go on CBS, you go on the ESPN in the world, and it's just like I can fill out 1,000 brackets. And it's just like, as soon as it became available, they'll just like do 1,000,000 brackets. And it's like, oh, if you happen to get a perfect bracket, you get $1 million from ESPN. So it's like I'm filling out 100 brackets. So I feel like it just totally lost its value to me. And now I feel like over the past like 2 years, I've needed to go. I've almost done the same thing with like fantasy leagues, where it's like, oh, fantasy football. Now everybody wants to be in a fantasy league. Now I'm in 25 leagues. Now none of them mean anything anymore. So I feel like over the past 2 years, it's like I need to just do like 2 brackets and I need to just do 2 fantasy leagues, because it was almost like I was just inundating myself. I'm like, are any of these even good? I can't pay attention to anything. So what do you think is the ideal amount of brackets?
So I fall in the same suit, because also I feel like I've gone back and forth every year between just maybe being in like a couple of different pools, but just sticking with one bracket the whole way. I traditionally do not do that. I've been having this battle with my family members, my husband. They're like, "Why do you not do that? Why do you make multiple brackets? Because then you're torn in every game. Because you always split, right? Every game you don't know, you split them into 2 brackets, and it never works out where one wins them all and the other has all the losses. It just doesn't happen like that. I last year had 3 separate brackets, and I personally felt like 3 was too much. I was having to bring the paper brackets because I'm team print out your bracket like all the way. I don't just stick with them online. I love to do the X's, and the little check marks, but I get it right. I was bringing them to work during March Madness, my 3 brackets, and it was too much. It was too many. 3 of them to try and handle while I was seeing patients, just keeping track of it. It was confusing. So I think 2, honestly, is a sweet spot, but maybe not, like, I don't know what the right way to, do the games where you're 50-50 on. Like, I don't know. That I feel torn apart when you do have 2 brackets, because it never works out, like I said, in your favor that way.
Yeah, and it's like the only times when you're like, I really feel confident about this one. I'm going to put this win in both of my brackets. It's like that's the one that's going to lose in the round of 32, without a doubt. And it's mostly just it's a fool's errand to think that we could get this right. But then there's always that little bit of me where it's like I'm sitting at work, or it's like I got up early to do something, and I'm like, it's like I could win $1 million. Like I'm just going to go through and fill out 10 of these things quick. It's like one of these happens to get perfect, and I win $1 million. It's like it'd be stupid not to, right? But then it's like I feel like if I'm going to do that, I need to just like have 1 that I pay attention to and maybe print out, or 2 that I print out, and then the rest just fill out 20 of them, and then like check them once a weekend. Like just check them every Sunday night and just be like, are any of these like any good or even close? And then just have the ones that I actually care about, because I still haven't found the right way to do this. I just know that what I have been doing is not sustainable and makes it completely not fun. But Mike, thank you for joining us. We're glad you made it back. We were worried sick without you. You've been super successful in college basketball betting last year, March Madness. So going in, what's your bracketology? What's your ideal bracket move?
I'm so sorry I was late, guys. I was just filling out my 400th bracket. I lost track of time. Why? What were you guys talking about? No, I was actually mobbed by a group of our fans just debating our name change.
They just heard the news. Sarah just dropped it live, and everybody was coming in. The world in Valencia and in Denmark were crazy and needed to hear about it.
Nice. All right. Well, I feel like I'm up to speed. My bracket move.
How many? What's the right amount? Because I feel like I've done too many, and then I haven't done enough. Do you like even doing brackets anymore, or now with the ubiquity of basketball, of just betting on your phones? Do you even care?
Gambling really toned it down for me last year, for sure. The year before, I didn't really bet on college basketball because I probably should have just stuck with the trend. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to lose all my money. Then last year, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lose all my money on college basketball.
That's good stuff.
I feel like I'm not in a group. I'm in so many groups of things, and none of my friend groups or things do like an office or a friend bracket. So I would do as many as was like, I can't say that's my problem. It's like the only thing I'm kind of good at deflecting is Super Bowl squares. Like I try really hard, but anything like under like $50, I'll be like, sure, I'll Venmo you, give me a square. With brackets, it would be the same thing. I would do as many as I would get offered. And thankfully, I guess for my bottom line, I don't really. I do the ESPN ones. One year, Sasha, I think you know this story. One year, I finished like in the top 200 in the country.
I do,
which doesn't win you anything, but it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and it's just a complete freak, insane thing. But you feel like a genius for those 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, I love seeing when I'm above like the 90th percentile. When you're like watching your percentile go up every time. It's like, but then there's like still like millions of other people with you.
I'm nodding ESPN, like I have any idea what that feels like, but I can imagine it.
ESPN would like tell me like, you know, who of the celebrities and like people I was ahead of. And this was so far. It was like, I remember when it was like, wow, I'm crushing Barack Obama right now. It's like, that was the one that stuck out. It was like, wow, I am way better than President Barack Obama. And the rush of getting like your first like 3 or 4 games right. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a perfect bracket.
Yep.
Amazing. This year, I think Biden has Russell Sage going all the way.
Right. Exactly.
Same rows, actually.
He really likes the Buffalo Bills to win the NCAA tournament.
He's got it together.
With Josh Allen winning the MVP. There it is, time.
He's in. He's safe. Right. But other than that, I think my only college basketball news is that I am watching Purdue, and I'm actually starting to believe in them. So I think somebody needs to stop me because they look really good. Their guards are really good. Zach Edey is enormous, and I feel like just being that big, it can't hurt. So I don't know. I feel like I'm walking myself into a trap here, and I don't know if I can stop myself.
I think you're going to get really good odds. Because a lot of people are going to want to bet against them. That was all I was going to say.
Yeah.
I think you can get as good odds as
safe. Final Four is safe with them. I think they'll make it there, but I don't see them winning the championship.
But I thought the same thing, and that's why I was like, I literally said last week, I'm going to keep betting them, and then use all that money to start betting against them. But then I was like, the last 16 seed to win, they beat Virginia. You know what Virginia did the year after they lost to a 16 seed?
I know. They won the championship.
Right.
Makes sense. I like storyline.
I guess.
But Purdue just
still don't.
They love
I don't really know yet. I don't know.
You have to see the layout. You have to see their path to getting there because that is a big part of it for sure.
That's true. You're right. I can't get crazy yet. I got to see a path.
No.
Yeah, well, like last year, everybody knew when they had St. Peter's that it was over.
Yeah. We all know.
The buzzsaw.
I think my only other college basketball news, I need to know, are you guys team pro storming the court or do we ban this? Because for those who did not see, which I don't know if you must live under a rock if you did not, that after the Duke-Wake Forest game, the Wake Forest fans stormed the court. Kyle Filipowski, Duke's star player, was injured. Did we use that term? I don't know. I'm not sure if he was injured or not. Quotation marks are on our document. I'm going to keep it as quotation marks. But he was injured coming off the court. I was really missing Coach K in that moment. I've heard other people say it, but like my immediate reaction was seeing John Shire go in his post-game press conference and, try his best to give his Coach K impression. When are we going to stop doing this? What do we have to do to get the players not at risk? Just going on doing his Coach K persona. I just feel like, I don't know. I'm a big supporter of the storming the court. I definitely agree there has to be better security measures in place for the away team for sure. But I'm sick and tired of hearing that this needs to be banned.
Yeah, it's a whiny crybaby nonsense. Like I don't think he's actually hurt. Yeah. It's like, it sucks. And it sucks to lose. And it just feels like, it's just a bad look. And they're just trying to make it some bigger thing than it is. It's like, it is 100%. I don't know if it's Wake Forest. I don't know if it's Duke. Honestly, I think if I work for Duke, it's like, why do we not just have security guys that go with us everywhere that like make sure our team gets off the court? Like they go for football. Those football ones are way scarier. Nobody really gets hurt. Like there's there's so many more people like flying in on that football field, and there's way more than like whatever 14 guys, however many guys are on like a college basketball team. It's like those NFL, those college football games have like, it's like at least 70 players on a team, and they're just getting, there's so many more people. So it's like there's a way to just relax. It's just, I don't know why it's becoming such an issue and why all these media personalities would ever think that it's a good idea to ban it. It's like, it's the most fun thing. And B, if like you're banning it, I feel like you're just like asking people to do it more, right?
Right. Oh, 100%.
What the Caitlin Clark one, I mean, upon video review, it was like she totally flopped, and nobody even like we don't have the guts as a society. Nobody's gonna even call her out on it. Like, hey, isn't that like a weird thing to pretend you got hurt? And now this guy, we just watched, and I know we're going to touch on it. We watched Cam Newton beat the living shit out of six guys. How big's Kyle Filipowski? I don't think he couldn't stand up straight in my basement. He's probably so big. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's a very tall, strong college athlete. Like, they can get out of the way. Get out of the way. You're about to get upset. Like, they're going to storm the court. It's one of the best things in sports. I'm looking it up now.
You have guesses on Kyle Filipowski's height?
6'8",
7 feet tall.
Hey, give me a break.
And can we say, I think he was really crying. I think he started like sobbing, and not because
soft.
He looked like he was crying very hard when it happened. I was like, what the heck is going on? But I think it was because of the emotions of the loss in the situation. Like, it was not because of his injury, because it happened like simultaneously that he got hit and then also started crying. It was almost like that childlike reflex, right? Like when a kid falls and then like instantaneous, and I feel like it was just a very bizarre, but honestly, I thought that was the weirdest part of it. I said the same thing. I'm like, this is a 7-footer guy who is looking like he just got like absolutely rocked by some like 5'5" unathletic, college guy. And then he started crying after. It was like, I don't know, maybe we all know I'm not a Duke fan, so I feel like that helps me be a little bit jaded in this, but it was just a bizarre look.
I don't know why they're trying to suck all the fun out of things. It's like so in 1976, Chris Chambliss hit a walk-off home run in the ALCS at Yankee Stadium and ran the bases with fans running with him. And I mean, I know it can get a little crazy and with security, and that's just the world that we live in. But this is these things are so important to sport. They're the things that when we're old and we look back, that's the feeling it's going to give us. And these guys can't handle these losses, because that's how they're being brought up. That's how athletes are now. They're coddled and whatever. Did Duke play another game? Has Duke played since?
No.
Anybody
and I
know?
think he's actually like questionable. I think it's
Bullshit.
Either they play tonight or tomorrow against Louisville. But they're just saying that. Like, they had to follow up to this. Because I saw the ESPN headline last night when I was watching games, said like Duke's Filipowski is sore, like uncertain for this upcoming game. Like, they didn't even have an injury body part listed. They just said sore. Like, so
I can think of a couple sore body parts he might have.
Talking about, they just mean like emotionally. He's like,
I said his pride.
How my grandma would have like, oh, he's real sore about that. Like,
yeah.
He does he looks like the most annoying fifth grader that just got stretched to be an enormous giant. And it's like, this guy, he's got a face that was built for Duke basketball.
It's just really disappointing that like the coach even comes out and says it. And then now this is like a thing. And like, I know how these things go. Like, this will go away. They will get rid of storming the field and storming the court. Yep. And it's not a good idea. It's not, you're not going to notice it, but it will take some of the joy out of it. And it's stupid when a team you don't want to have that happen. Don't lose the game. That's it. It's some of the best. I don't even really get into any college sport team in particular. I still love watching it. It's so cool.
Because you remember being that age. Like, I remember being younger like that. I remember being like, whatever, 14, 15, be like, I can't wait to go to college. Like, oh man, what if I get to be at a game and like we win and get to storm the court? Like, I remember being excited about it. I remember like that was like part of the allure of like being a college kid. Like, look at those guys.
Yeah, Albany never beat anybody, so it was all good. We didn't even go to those games.
Yeah, and also the gym in Vermont was wasn't exactly conducive for court storming.
I blame LeBron.
Why not? Right?
I mean, he does how many times during a game do we have to stop because somebody we think he's like dead on the court, and then he gets up and he's completely fine. I mean, he does it like time after time. It's like the Paul Pierce when he got carried out like he had gotten like shot, and they put him in a wheelchair, and then he came back and played.
Because it wasn't shot, it was shit. He shit.
He had to shit himself. I know, but these guys, you know. There is so much of this like acting out these like over exaggerating. I mean, you got me watching soccer. I mean, dude, they do it in every single multiple times every 5 minutes. And I think to actually act like he should get made fun of by his team in the locker room. Like, dude, you got hit by like some kid at Wake Forest. You're fine.
Yeah, that kid's he was in biology class 2 hours ago. Like,
and Caitlin Clark checked the girl on the court.
Yeah,
that was an offensive foul.
Taking the charge.
Yeah, I hope they don't take it away, but I feel like this is probably a done deal.
I hope not. But speaking of, on the opposite end of coaches things that I actually kind of liked, even when it went against me, watching the Knicks last night. Knicks continue to find ways to win. I'm definitely not as excited about the team as I once was. I mean, we're finding ways to win, which is exciting. But we can't beat the Celtics. We can't really beat any good teams. But we are taking care of business against some bad teams. But this game last night against the Pistons did not feel great. We, they have 8 wins all season, and we were losing with in the last possession of the game. And DiVincenzo definitely fouled that guy Thompson, just took his legs out at the end of the game. It was the sloppiest last possession I've ever seen. Horrible turnovers, horrible decision making. Josh Hart was the only person that seemed to kind of have his shit together in the whole possession, and then was able to get the and one, get his own rebound on the missed free throw, and the Knicks were thankfully able to win the game. But I love. Did you see Monty Williams after the game in his post game press conference? I love that so much. So he literally came in, sat down. I mean, it was a horrible call at the end of the game that literally lost them the game, and he just sat down and was like, "Where's the New York media now?" He's like, "We've done everything right. We've sent all the tape everywhere." It's like, I don't know what to tell these guys. They keep telling me, what more can I do? What more can we do to try to win a game? And they did it all. And the officiating is as bad as I've ever seen. And then just said, I'm done. Didn't take any questions, got up and walked out. So huge amount of respect. I mean, especially having that kind of fight with an 8-36 team. He was not going gentle into that good night, as they say. So it was a win for New York. Didn't feel good about it by any means. And definitely respect Monty Williams. That was exciting.
I was upset because I actually included the Knicks in my parlay last night, and I thought, Knicks. I teased the odds down. Knicks -4. I was like, they're playing the Pistons. They lost by 3. That hurt.
Yep. At home, even too. Yeah, that felt like about as safe a bet as you could imagine.
Yeah, it was not safe.
The
no
Knicks
one is
have
safe
the
from
worst.
teams.
No, the Knicks have I think the worst record amongst playoff teams against teams over 500.
Feels right.
It is something. I too had the Knicks in a bet as well. That did not go well, but caused me to put an unhealthy amount of money on the Miami Heat, which did go very well. So thank you, New York.
Staying in house on the podcast.
They blew my parlay so fast. I was like, that's it. Hammering the Heat. All Heat.
The only safe bet what is his name? The worst bad body language guy.
Julius Randle.
Thank you. With Julius Randle out is betting over over probably 25 points for Jalen Brunson. I've just been throwing that in everything, and over 6 or 8 rebounds for Josh Hart, getting a lot of playing time, and those are the only bets I'm making on the Knicks, and they've been working out. But I can't trust the team yet.
I'm just doing all my bets around my 4 championship teams. See how smart I'm going to be.
Love it.
2-1 so far.
And then my only other NBA take from the week is that I don't know if I like watching Luka as much as I thought I did. I don't know if it was just like, oh, look at this crazy white guy doing all this crazy shit. But the more I watch it, it's just like not the best style of basketball. I mean, he's insanely talented, but it's just a lot of him. And I mean, he hit some crazy shots and like he's so good, but I don't know why I don't like watching him as much as I feel like I either once did or I just, it's not the best brand of basketball to watch.
I'll give you a fun stat actually that I heard this week about this that I was like, well, that explains why Luka can be really hard to watch. Nikola Jokic, average time with the ball, that means when he gets, so he has over 100 touches per game, meaning they throw him the ball 100 times a game on average.
Okay.
His time on the ball is 2.6 seconds, meaning touch passes, moving, set, screen, roll. He gets the ball out of his hands. Luka's is 5.8. I mean, that's so he's just the ultimate ball stopper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing is he's an incredible scorer. I mean, all these guys did it. Kobe did it. MJ had the ball in his hands a shitload. It's tough to watch. I know.
Yeah, but I mean, MJ also won like what, 6 defensive player of the years?
Yeah, he. I don't know if it was 6, but he won a bunch. Yeah, he did a lot more on the court for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe. I kind of felt the same way about Kobe. I never like loved watching him the way. Again, it was like an insane respect for what he could do, but it was just like, all right, this isn't like super exciting. Because I do like watching Dallas is crazy. Like Jamal Murray's so much fun. Jokic is incredible. It's like I could feel like I could watch that all day. But and I part of me was like, wait, is it just for some reason Kyrie? It was like, do I just just Kyrie being on the team just make it more unlikable? But I mean, he's super talented and maybe just a little bit of a psycho.
Is it because he tweeted out that Jewish thing?
It didn't help. It definitely didn't help.
Kyrie's another one. They have 2 people that just if they keep it close in the last 5 minutes of games, they're so deadly because they have these 2 guys who can get a bucket and they're as good as anybody in the league. But to get to those last 5 minutes, it's like you got to watch like a boring brand of basketball. The thing about Jokic, he's like one of like only 4 guys who gets over 100 touches a game, and he's like 20th in usage rate, which is so like Luka's probably first in usage rate. So to have that many touches and to be dominating the ball, it is. And then these other players lose interest. They go stand in the corner, so the offense stops moving. It gets real. It's clunky. It's the way James Harden was like that on Houston.
Yeah,
he wasn't fun to watch at all.
No.
No.
I would like to see. You think Luka's going to get fat and try to leave Dallas?
I think he's struggling with it. I think that's something he's got to look at every day. I feel that.
Yeah. He always looks so sweaty, so fast in the games.
I think his thing is he likes to drink sweet tea. I think sweet tea's his
It's hilarious.
I know Joel Embiid's fat because he loves Shirley Temples.
That will do it.
Seriously, like he drinks tons of Shirley Temples.
Is he going to bar mitzvahs?
Drinks sweet tea.
Going to bar mitzvahs every weekend? Where's he getting Shirley Temples?
I don't know.
You go to nice restaurants in Philly? He's like asking you if they have grenadine.
Yeah, well, you going to say no to him?
Probably not. Could I please have a Shirley Temple?
Yes, you can, you gigantic human.
I did actually. I don't know if I've told this on the podcast before. I was drunk in an Uber in Philadelphia, and we were in traffic in like this bar street, and I saw Joel Embiid walk crossing the street behind our Uber as we were in traffic, and I told the Uber to sit there, and I got out of the car and went and dapped up Joel Embiid, only to be promptly pushed against the car by his security. But I did shake his hand, and his security was significantly smaller and less frightening than he was.
I've seen you rapidly approach another celebrity too. You know
that was bad.
Who that was?
I do.
Why don't you tell everybody?
We were able to go to Barstool Sports, and I ran up on Dave Portnoy very shortly after he had mouth surgery and introduced myself, and he couldn't have been less interested in talking to me.
It was Sasha has a very Sasha's a big character, and he was aggressively going at Portnoy, and Portnoy looked like a little scared.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you gave him beat a little bit. Listen, you're a big personality.
Yeah.
These guys see you running up on them. They don't know what's about to happen.
So I just got out of a car that he was trying to walk behind.
With us, you got out of a van.
Yeah, and it was like a half a block away. So he was like very close to the door, and I had to make it to him before he ran in. So weird move, but whatever. Can't change it now.
That's okay. You're just listen. When you get starstruck,
yeah, I want to talk to him.
I get it.
Realize that that's just a guy. You're just a person. I know people. But
Officer, the cuffs are hurting me. He's just a guy.
Speaking of what Dave Portnoy thought I was going to do to him, as you alluded to before, Cam Newton just jumped at his youth football camp. Is just absolutely bananas.
I thought it was fake when you first saw it, because I first saw it on like the NFL memes Instagram, which like you never know what's coming out of there, what's real and what's not. I couldn't believe it. I feel like his hat was so Cam Newton, but it just made the whole thing even more like, is this real life? And who in their right mind would think this was a good idea? I don't understand that part of it.
I wasn't shocked at all.
Really?
Yeah, if you told me Cam Newton gets jumped at a thing, I could see Cam Newton getting into like a brawl at anything. Cam Newton's a little off his rocker. He was dressed like the Wicked Witch of the West.
You think he threatened them by saying he was going to get them his pretties?
Will Compton tweeted that Cam Newton's the only person who doesn't have to take off his hat before riding a roller coaster.
It's got to be the tightest hat ever put on a head.
Mm-hmm.
And the other good one was Chris Long tweeted, after watching that video, I've decided that a backpack is not a tactical advantage.
Also, like, what are they doing? You're just a bunch of kids. First of all, you're at his like football camp. Like, what world is that a good idea to mess with that dude? And this 6'5", 245-pound dude who played, like he won a championship at Auburn and was like, the issue with his NFL playing was his throwing ability and accuracy. It certainly wasn't his aggressive style and his like strength. Like, I'm pretty sure you could still bring him in as like Jalen Hurts, get a couple yards type tush push guy, and he would be the greatest at that in the NFL. But like 4 or 5 teams trying to fight him at the same time, like I'm pretty sure he could, fuck those kids up in 8 days a week. So, but then as soon as I got done watching that, all I could think of is like, who would have been the funniest quarterback for this to happen to? Like, what quarterback would put on a camp? Like, oh, we're doing a 7-on-7 camp in this town and for this quarterback, and they just get jumped.
Cam Newton, can I offer that one up?
No, see, that was not because he just beat the shit out of those kids. I'm thinking like,
oh, okay, like an unlikely,
like AJ McCarron just gets the shit kicked out of him by a bunch of annoying kids in Tuscaloosa.
I was going to say like Derek Carr.
Oh, Philip Rivers, I think
Philip
Rivers would
hit him.
Yeah.
I think it would be hilarious to hear the audio of that, though, and him being like flabbergasted that this was happening to him. He would use the word flabbergasted
multiple times
during the fight. Yep.
Especially
Derek Carr,
Eli Manning, Peyton Manning. Eli would make some funny noises.
Yep.
What was the other one? Kirk Cousins. That'd be very good.
He would be so lost.
That would be like seeing like a puppy get beat up.
Yeah. His wife would have the assault paperwork filed before he was even out of the hospital. Like it would be a legal suit immediately.
He would just let them go. I feel like Kirk Cousins would pull off whatever is on value on his body and just give that to them at his own will. And it was just like, oh.
Yeah, take my chains. Take my chains.
We'd be surprised about how many Bibles he had on him, like, giving them to the kids. Like, you just keep
started. They start falling out like loot in Grand Theft Auto.
Every time you punch him, there's just like more and more stuff on the ground.
Oh, it's another tablet with more commandments on them.
Yeah, but I feel like Cam Newton is probably top 5 guys you shouldn't do that to.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just,
so you start with Josh Allen at 1.
Yeah.
Where do you put Cam Newton after that?
Cam Newton, I think, is ahead of Josh Allen. Physically, they're pretty much the same, and I think Cam Newton is way quicker to punch.
I'm sorry, you guys cut out. What was that?
Yeah. I think just level-headedness and, Josh Allen has way more to lose, where I think you couldn't get Josh Allen to fight. Like Cam Newton's like, whatever. I have a podcast now. I got I'll swing at these kids.
I feel like Mike Vick wouldn't be a guy you'd want to do that to.
No. Yeah, I think he'd be okay. I'd be more worried about number 2. You know, you take a swing at Mike Vick. Mike Vick will like dodge it, and then whoever's protecting Mike Vick has a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
He came out of jail looking fine.
Yeah.
You know, like he had a good time in there. He was okay.
So overall bad, but good to laugh at, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so great, just in the middle of the day.
It's like,
you guys were shocked. I was like, this seems like I've listened to Cam Newton give interviews, and he seems like he got into a fight with people at another camp. Do you remember that? Like a few years back? I
kind of do. Yeah.
The guy was like saying he sucked, and he was like, I'm a millionaire.
Oh, it was like a middle schooler or something, wasn't it? Like
well,
literally
now he's a high schooler, and he went after him.
Yeah. I think that's also part of it is like he's just surrounds himself in this like shit talk kind of world where it's like, who you can't, why are you shit talking Cam Newton? Like, ever. The guy was in the NFL. Why are you shit talking anybody in the NFL?
But he does dress like such a clown that I could understand, like in the moment being like, I could take him. Like he literally, it looked like the Wicked Witch in a fight. Like if you rewatch it and think in terms of like the witch hat, it just looks like a witch flying around up there. It's so crazy.
Oh, it is very, very good. But Sarah, I know we got to wrap this up. We got to get going. But it has been an absolute pleasure as always, and we want to thank you all again for following us on this journey. And welcome to season 2, episode 1 of the now Heating Up podcast. We will, as Sarah mentioned earlier, we are going to be getting some new logos in, changing the name of our Instagram account, getting the Twitter all fired up. We'll be getting on TikTok now that we have the new name as well. So lots of fun things to come. We appreciate you guys voting and getting involved. And we will talk to you all.
I have a quick surprise. Wait.
Please. Ooh, surprises. I love surprises.
I'm also trying to work on an intro for us.
Oh, careful. It's a good tease for the people.
He gets the microphone and now you can't stop him.
Yeah, that's it. I'm teaching myself how to play instruments so we have no copyright infringement. I'm going to play everybody a little song. I am looking to see exactly what we have to do to be safe, but I've got some very good ideas that I haven't even told our hosts yet. And I'll be texting them to you after this.
I can't wait. You're just going to send us a video of you and your wife doing the thing from Step Brothers. Just, I don't think that's going to work.
All right. Well, you just ruined it. You spoiled it. All right.
Well, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, currently at Play Your Yards Right Pod, but that will be changing soon. So keep your eyes out, and we will be sharing everything on social media. But thank you for listening. Watch us on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Share with your friends. It's most important. We're gaining listeners slowly but surely. So we appreciate you, and we will continue to do so with your help. So we love you, and we'll talk to you next week.